The teaser trailer for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker dropped recently, and it's got fans buzzing about a galaxy far, far away again. One of the biggest topics, aside from the return of Palpatine, is fans wondering about Rey's parents again. Director JJ Abrams has spoken about the issue, and the teaser trailer may have hinted at a new possibility. Let's unwrap it and find out more about Rey's parents. In The Force Awakens, JJ Abrams began setting the stage for his infamous mystery boxes. Perhaps the biggest mystery left unanswered at the end of the film was who Rey's parents were. Rey was a scavenger on the desert planet Jakku who was patiently waiting for her parents to come back and get her. She was abandoned on the planet as a child, and by the time of the events of the film, many years have since passed. Yet Rey hasn't given up hope just yet, as she's still optimistic about the return of her family. All signs were pointing to Rey being the daughter of someone really important. There were many theories flooding the internet on this topic. Perhaps she was a long-lost Kenobi.
It's me.
A theory that gained some attention thanks to both faint dialogue by Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor during the Force flashback scene in The Force Awakens.
Red?
Another, albeit crazier theory was that she was either the direct descendant of Palpatine or that she was a female clone of him.
No.
To be fair, a connection with Palpatine does seem a bit more likely now thanks to the Episode 9 teaser. The running theory was that she was the daughter of Luke Skywalker, and he would have confirmed that theory at the beginning of The Last Jedi. Of course, Johnson shattered all hopes and expectations when it came time for this reveal in The Last Jedi. When confronted with Kylo Ren shortly after the death of Snoke and his Praetorian guards, Kylo revealed that Rey's parents were actually filthy junk traders who pawned off their daughter for drinking money on Jakku.
They were nobody.
They were filthy junk traders.
It was a huge blow for many fans who believed she was a descendant of someone of great importance. The Force Awakens did tease this notion quite a bit, but is it possible that Kylo Ren was lying to her in hopes of manipulating her to his cause, and that Rey's parents are more than what the fallen son of Han and Leia said? Recently, JJ Abrams spoke to the press about this upcoming film, which is set not only to close out the sequel trilogy, but the entire Skywalker saga as well. No pressure at all! And at first, JJ was pretty hesitant about returning to Star Wars. But here he is, and he stated to ABC that there's more to the story than you've seen when asked specifically about Rey's parents, and implied that while 8 is still canon and he can't ignore it, that may just be a small look at a much larger picture. The story of Rey's parents playing some sort of role in the plot for The Rise of Skywalker only grew once the teaser trailer actually dropped online and fans saw a familiar sight. For a few seconds in the teaser, a ship could be seen flying over a settlement at nighttime. The ship looks an awful lot like the ship we saw in Rey's forceback scene, when we saw her get abandoned on Jakku. In the Rise of Skywalker teaser, the ship can be seen at a somewhat similar angle, and the specific detailing seems to match the ship we saw back in 2015. While it is certainly possible that this is a common make and brand of ship in the Star Wars universe, that would be an awful bait and switch from Lucasfilm and JJ Abrams. So let's assume that the ship is, in fact, the same ship that belonged to Rey's parents. Does that mean that we can expect them or some other member of Rey's family to join the narrative of the film? It's too early to say for certain. Maybe they simply find the ship, but alive or dead, it does seem Rey's parents will show up in this film, with both this similar-looking ship showing up in the teaser and JJ teasing that there's more to that particular part of the story to come. So, who might they be? Suddenly, it's 2016 again, and fans are theorizing about Rey's parents once more. So let's dive in and analyze the various theories out there to see if they hold any weight. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. Along with possibly seeing Rey's parents' ship in the teaser, we also saw the wreckage of the Death Star and the sinister laugh of the Emperor. Lucasfilm and JJ Abrams would quickly go on record to confirm that yes, the Emperor is back in some way, shape, or form in this entry that would close out the entire Skywalker saga. The idea that Rey has a connection to Palpatine has been tossed around since the days following The Force Awakens, but now that idea is starting to gain more traction thanks to the involvement of the Sith Lord who is believed to be dead for the past 30 years. This particular look at the Palpatine connection comes from Redditor Anakin's father and suggests that the Emperor is in fact Rey's father. The Redditor points to Rey's exceptional mastery and proficiency with the Force. She was able to beat Kylo Ren, a student of Luke Skywalker with no Jedi training at all, and having only picked up a lightsaber minutes before. That doesn't seem like any skills she could have just inherited from some random filthy junk traders. Her raw talent would stem from her genetic connection to the Force, which comes from Palpatine. The theory also points out that the Force likes balancing itself.
Bring balance to the Force!
With Shmi Skywalker having a dark side son who in turn had two light side children, one of them being the Jedi Luke Skywalker. So the Force rebalanced itself. So if Palpatine had any offspring, one might assume that the Force would seek to balance him out too. With the Emperor being so powerful, the Force would grant extreme light side powers to its new champion to balance the scales yet again. And also is the mirror opposite of Kylo Ren, who was the son of light. While not part of this theory, it's worth pointing out that in the Force Awakens novelization, during her confrontation with Kylo Ren, a malevolent voice in her head encouraged her to kill Kylo Ren when he was down. But who do we know who likes egging lightsiders to kill downed foes? We'll give you a few moments to think it over. Do it. This isn't the only connection between Rey and the Emperor that fans are conjuring up, however. Redditor RoyBatty1602 proposed something quite different that links Rey and the Sith Lord together. Quick warning, spoilers ahead for Darth Vader Volume 25. In that final issue of Charles Soule's Vader comic, which begins right at the end of Revenge of the Sith and concludes with the construction of Vader's castle, thanks to visions from the past, we learned that Palpatine, in fact, manipulated the midichlorians around Shmi Skywalker and was able to create life within her, making Palpatine Anakin's father in a weird and twisted kind of way.
We will watch your career with great interest.
This theory suggests that the people who left Rey alone on Jakku in exchange for drinking money weren't in fact her biological parents, but rather her adoptive ones. Maybe they were good people in the beginning, but they quickly became addicts and spiraled out of control, and less than a decade after taking Rey in, they pawned her off. Her real parental figure is, of course, Palpatine. The Dark Lord of the Sith used the same manipulation of the Force that he used to create Anakin, a technique he likely learned from Plagueis and applied it to Rey.
To create life.
Which could be the reason why he's able to get into her head. This theory actually holds up nicely when compared to JJ's comments about respecting what came before it in The Last Jedi, but also showcasing that there may be more to the picture than meets the eye. If Rey was created by Palpatine, then this fits in nicely with the internet favorite theory that she's Anakin reincarnated. Yeah, that was a big theory for a while there, and it likely still garners plenty of eye rolls when it's spoken of. But if Palpatine did indeed manipulate the midichlorians to create Rey, then her story fits nicely with that old theory. She isn't Anakin back from the grave with all his memories in a new body, but rather they were both created in the same unnatural manner. Meaning that they're essentially the same being, at least in spirit, due to their unusual origins. Lucasfilm and JJ Abrams have spoken openly about how this movie will act as a conclusion to both the sequel trilogy and the franchise as a whole, so that likely means there's some connections to the prequel trilogy. Darth Plagueis seems to be the name brought up the most, with his knowledge of stopping death and creating life being a rare talent that he seemingly did pass on to his apprentice Palpatine. Perhaps creating life and confirming that Vader is the son of Palpatine is too deep of a cut for the casual Star Wars fan, but Solo proved that Lucasfilm are at least willing to trust their audience when they included Darth Maul on the big screen, a character who died at the end of The Phantom Menace but has since come back in the animated shows. Perhaps the filmmakers will just roll with it and find a way to bring the audience up to speed while also keeping in mind events that have already been mentioned in the canon before. The final assumption we can ascertain about Rey's parents is that Kylo Ren was being completely honest and that they really are nobodies who pawned her off for money to feed their habits. But that doesn't mean they're dead, right? They likely lived on another planet and will somehow get involved in the plot of the movie again if the freighter is anything to go by. Upon discovering her parents, Rey may be angry, but JJ will perhaps confirm that everything that's come before him still stands. Of course, there are wilder theories, such as one that suggests that Rey is in fact Shmi Skywalker, who was brought through the world between worlds and had her memory wiped, which in turn leads to the creation of Anakin, but even that's a bit too much of a stretch for us. But who knows, right? Either way, this is one of the last chances to provide answers, and we'll be expecting a lot more answers than mysteries when The Rise of Skywalker hits theaters. So what is your theory about Rey's parents? Are they still nobodies, or were the people who pawned her off simply her adoptive parents? Let us know your thoughts on the return to theorizing about Rey's parents in the comments below. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in your playlist every day. Thanks for watching!